For today's tutorial, we are going to put our own face onto a quarter, or if you don't have a picture of yourself, you can use a picture of myself. And so the first thing we're going to do with our picture of the quarter is make a duplicate of the layer so that we can manipulate it without affecting the original. So I'm going to turn the eyeball off the original, and for this one we're going to actually eliminate some of the president's face here as soon as we get our face on there. So going to our face, if you use the pen tool, and every time there's a curve in the picture, we're going to put a point. Make sure that you have path selected before you start this. It's very, very important that you have path selected. So I'm going to click here, and I'm just going to click everywhere where there's a curved area so that we can get this face roughly. So every time there's a curve around the head here, I'm going to be creating a new point. Spend time doing this so that you can get an accurate area to work with. And I'm going to go back to my original point and close it off. Now if I go underneath my pen tool to the Add Anchor Point tool, all the areas where there's curves, I can move and manipulate this line so that I can get just the face and nothing more, nothing less. So I'm adding points as I go around and just going around and getting all those areas that I missed with the straight lines. Good practice to make sure that you get an accurate amount so that it looks more realistic. Alright, once you have the face about where you want it, right click on the screen and go to make selection, and we want feather 0, just everything defaults okay, and you'll see the marching answer in here. Now we have our quarter picture open and our face picture open. With the move tool I can go inside my selection and move this picture onto the quarter, and so now I've got layer 1. And so we can name our layers, so why don't we name this layer colored face. And this face is a little too large, so I'm going to come up here to edit, free transform, and while holding the shift key I can move this down and make it about the size that the president is. So I'm going to make this roughly the size of the president, and I'm actually going to tilt this up a little bit so that we can see Liberty here. And we don't want to get too close to any of the writing on the coin, so make sure that you can see all the writing. This area we're actually going to erase a little bit of. So I'm going to hit enter, and I'm actually going to take my eraser tool, and I can even do this with a soft brush, and I'm going to make the brush diameter bigger. And what I'm going to do is just come around here and kind of erase this part that's covering up the dollar. And we can still nudge this around and put it into the place that we want. Alright, with the background copy layer, we're going to use a tool called the clone stamp. So click the clone stamp, find the clone stamp. With the option key, I can come in here to this quarter, and if I hold the option key down, you'll see that the mouse turns into a crosshair. And with this crosshair, I can take samples of the coin. And so if I click right here and take a sample of that, I can come down here and actually start painting the quarter with that part of the sample of the coin. And so you see that it actually duplicates the coin into different parts. You want to make sure that you sample often and make sure that you're not repeating yourself too much, otherwise you'll see patterns starting to show up. So just try and get samples that are close to the area that you're trying to erase. And what we're doing is we're just eliminating the president here, and I'm resampling often. Make sure that you continually resample. Don't use the same sample, because if I use this sample, let's say, and I paint up here, you're going to start to see this liberty starting to show up right here, and we don't want that to happen. And what's happening is it's bringing this part of the image back over here, and so we don't want that to happen. So make sure that you sample near the areas that you're erasing, and you can get around here. Just keep resampling over and over again until you get a nice picture without the president in there anymore, because we are going to take over the quarter. Alright, looks pretty good. Okay, now we've got this quarter background copy that's been erased and up until the head. And I'm going to make an actual new channel on this. This is a new thing that we're going to use as channels. And what we want is a good amount of contrast. And so right here I've got red, green, and blue all together, so we got all the colors. If I click on the red, then we get this kind of light to dark, but it's very washed out, and so that one's not really good. The green's looking better. It's got a nice amount of tones, both. You can see a lot of detail in here, and if I click on the blue, this one's pretty good too, but it does make the hair a little too dark. You can't see the detail anymore. So I'm going to click on the green, and I'm going to go to right click, duplicate channel. So I'm going to duplicate the channel, and green copy is fine. And so now we've got a new channel right here. And with this channel, I'm going to select the green copy channel so that the eyeball's on it and green copy is there. And I'm going to go to filter, and I'm going to blur the surface of this. Surface blur. And with the surface blur, if you look at this picture, if I turn the preview on and off, you see that it actually blurs some of the detail out of this face. And that's what we want. We want a nice smooth face for us to work with. So I'm going to click radius and threshold of 10 is fine. Click OK. And so now our green copy has been blurred. I'm going to turn RGB back on, and I'm going to go back to my layers. Now I'm going to go and create a new layer, and this is where our coin face is going to be. So I'm going to name this coin face because this is our new coin face. And I'm going to take my paint bucket tool, and with my colors, what I'm going to do is just pick a gray here for us to paint from the quarter. So when you're in your color picker, if you just come here, you can take a sample of the actual quarter, and I'm going to choose kind of this light gray here, and I'm just going to paint this whole coin face layer gray. I'm going to go to filter, and I'm going to go to render, and I'm going to go to lighting effects. Okay, now with lighting effects, and yours will look more like this. It's just lighting the gray canvas, and our all these numbers you should take note of: 40, 45, 0, 60, 0, and 10. And then for our texture channel, I'm going to choose our green copy channel, and you're going to see that this is showing up right here as our head, and it's going to basically make this kind of beveled and textured. Make sure that white is high is not checked, and make sure that your mountainous is somewhere around 80 to 90. That's a pretty good number. Let's see what this looks like when we click OK. Alright, so now we see that our head showed up, and you can see that it kind of looks metallic. It looks like it belongs. I'm going to go ahead and make a duplicate of this layer. Right click, make duplicate layer, and I'm going to click OK. And what I'm going to do is we're going to do a layer blending mode to this. Instead of normal, I'm going to go to vivid light, and you're going to see that more detail is going to show up. But we don't want this layer to have full opacity because it's very, very abrupt and sharp. So I'm going to take this down probably to about 35%. See, we got a little bit more detail in there. So that's good. And there's a lot of green color in this layer, so I'm going to come up here to Image, and I'm going to go to Adjustments, and I'm going to desaturate it so that it's just gray, not green anymore. Alright, so we're getting close to being finished. With our colored face layer, you can hold Command on the Mac or Control on the PC. So I'm going to hold Control or Command if you're on the Mac. And I'm going to click on this colored face right there, and it's going to call up this old face image right here. And I'm going to go up to Select, Inverse, and what I'm going to do is delete everything on this layer except for the head. So I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard, and that's going to delete that. And now I'm going to come to my regular coin face, not the copy, and hit delete as well. And now you see that this coin has shown up. Okay. Now you see that this is pretty bright. It's pretty light. We can change that by messing with our image adjustments. So on my coin face layer, I'm going to go to Image Adjustments, and I'm going to go to Curves, and I'm going to turn the curves down on this coin a little bit so that this looks more like it belongs. And click OK. It's we brought down the darkness a little bit. Let's see if we bring down or bring up the opacity of this face copy a little bit. And we've got this. It's actually still a little bit bright. I'm actually going to adjust the curves one more time. Darken that a little bit. And maybe adjust our levels. That's good. And if you'd like, you can come in with your burn tool, and we can actually burn this, make it a little bit darker in areas because it kind of looks a little bright. And you can add darkness to different areas by burning it very carefully. I'm using a 16% exposure. That looks pretty good right there though. Okay, the last thing we're going to do for the coin face layer is we're going to go to Layer, Layer Style, and we're going to add a bevel to this. And for our bevel, I'm going to move this window so I can see what's going on here. I'm going to turn the depth up, and I'm going to turn the size up so that we can see this darkness here. I'm going to soften it all the way. And yep, that looks pretty good. Click OK. Turn your eyeball off of your colored so we can't see that colored one anymore. And now we have a picture of ourselves on the coin. Looks like it belongs, looks like it's made out of the same material.